it shuts off when I go to another tab. Let's see. Let's see if I can bring this over here and do it this way. Yeah.
Gone with water tied by blood, leaving everything to ride the wave and tame the rising tide within her skin. Gone with water tied by blood, feel the quickening swell earthly made, held suspended till it's ever made. With a wave of her hand, she left the weight of the land, searching for the surf and the sand of a memory, waiting in the shallows, darting with the squid glows, sinking like a stone, the fatal lure of the undertow. No fear of drowning or of rebirth, she is breathing salty oxygen, waiting in the shallows, darting with the squid glows, sinking like a stone, the fatal lure of the undertow. Leaving everything to ride the wave, tame the rising tide within her skin. Gone with water, tied by blood, feel the quickening swell earthly made, held suspended till it's severing.
Wow. Beautiful. What a beautiful song.
Well, yeah, that's that's a tune by Emile, and I wrote the words for it.
Oh,
We did a lot. It was like a lockdown project.
that's really lovely. Uh, just getting my stuff together here. Okay, so let me make a proper introduction. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, my guest, Imogen Ryall. Did I pronounce that correct? Ryall?
Do you know I quite like Ryall? It's actually Ryall, but Ryall is actually nice.
Oh,
You can
that's
say it.
because I actually have a friend named Marianne Ryall, and that's how she's pronounced it. And but of course, English, you know, it's probably a little different, right? Hi, Joyce. I have a fan here, Joyce Glasgow. She's in Seattle.
Oh, hi, Joyce.
She's a very knowledgeable fan.
That's a rare thing. Oh, it's not a rare thing. That's unfair. No, that's not fair at all. Scrap that. Oh no, he's lying.
So Imogen and I met a while ago already. Gosh,
He did.
it was a while ago, 8 years ago, maybe more. I don't know.
It was definitely pre-pandemic, isn't it? Which is at least so. Yeah, watching.
Anyway, it was very cool, kind of a relatively quick meeting, but you know. But anyway, she's in, she's in England. Are you in London proper or somewhere?
I'm actually in Brighton.
Oh,
Yes.
you live in Brighton. I didn't realize that.
Mm, okay.
Oh, I've been to Brighton.
I, we have mutual friends, don't we?
Yes, we do. Sarah Oshlag, Dan Shepherd, several
Yeah.
other. Um, yeah. So, um, I was going to say something brilliant, Imogen, and I just went out of my mind. Anyway, Imogen is number 560 for me. I think you're actually in this new. See, I kind of stopped. I stopped even posting archives every day for a few months,
Mhm.
and now I'm feeling a little like more. I've started scheduling a live person every week, so this is kind of a new thread again. So you're in this new thread.
It feels good. It feels good.
So I'm gonna just kind of look around in our conversation, just go where it takes us. You feel free to go where you want to go. I know you want to talk about your new record.
I would like to, yeah, definitely. But
Let's
I'm
talk about it now, and then we'll talk about it later.
great, fantastic. Yeah. Well, it's just nice. It's just lovely to talk to. Well, it's great to talk to another singer, and one with one, that I hold in high esteem, And I was introduced to you before I met you by our friend Sarah
Yeah.
Oshla. Um, and she said, "Oh, have you heard Kathy? Have you heard Cathy Segal-Garcia?" And I said, "Well, oh, no." And I said, because I know what I think we were talking about the whole thing about singing second, third choruses with lyrics and improvising with lyrics and she said, "Oh look," and she showed me and she said, pointed me towards a video of you doing just that, and I was just like, this is what I'm talking about, and really enjoy when singers do that. And I don't think, well, you must correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think singers necessarily do that a lot. I don't know. I might be wrong about that. But I think we think, especially when we're teaching, I think students always think, "Oh, we've got to scat. I've got to be scatting." Without that, without the work that entails.
I think
But
it's. I think singers do that more live than on
yeah,
recordings. I think
yeah,
recordings tend to make singers be very kind of focused and okay, I have to do this. And yeah, where strangely enough, Japan they do it a lot.
oh,
Yeah, and it's just must be how they observed jazz singing and
yeah,
what they thought was, impressive or they should be doing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I particularly like as well. Shirley Horman does that, and not changing a huge amount either.
Yeah,
Maybe just a little something here and there, but it's just something things are just changing up a notch. It's just it's yeah, it's fun. It's fun to do.
really fun to do.
Mm.
I personally think I sound better doing that than singing the real melody that's written. So yeah, and that this kind of thing you never reach the pinnacle.
Mm.
You know, it's always because you're always in the moment,
Yeah.
and this moment is different than the last moment, and which is fascinating to me. Just life like that is fascinating. Yeah. Well, tell us about the record.
Well, I very lucky.
Right?
Oh, sorry.
Do you have a copy of it? Can you show us?
I
Or
can. I have to go and get it.
well, I can find it. You sent it to me, right?
That was very ill prepared of me, wasn't it? Uh,
No. Let me see if I can just find it. Imogen, where did I put you?
but
Um, I think I have it. Yeah. Wait, is it Rubicon? Is that it?
that's it.
Okay, let me just
Label.
up
Yeah.
and show people for a second. Lovely cover.
Well, that was their design. That was the label design. I think they wanted to echo the original colors in the original album. So it's Imogen Ryall, as you can see, sings the Charles Mingus Joni Mitchell songbook. It's literally Mingus. It's the Mingus album that Joni wrote. Sorry, that she collaborated with him. And I just wanted to. I wanted to. Well, initially I just literally had an idea because of last year being a centenary of Charles Mingus's birth. I thought, oh, that might be a fun thing to do that whole album, and maybe some other songs by Mingus. But essentially that collaboration, and so we did a gig. We did a gig at Pheasantry Pizza Express Pheasantry in London. It was really great. We did another one later on, another venue, great jazz venue called Watermill Jazz Club in Dorking in the UK as well. And somebody there saw it. A friend of my the wonderful sax player on this album, Julian Nicholas, and a long-time friend and collaborator. And it was a friend of his who said, "You know what? This could be. I know a label that might be interested in putting this out." So you may have the same thing. People do come up and say nice things like that. Oh, you should do this, and oh, it would be great. And you go, oh, great, and thanks. I appreciate it. But anyway, so yeah, essentially this came to sort of fruition, and we recorded it last in January, and sort of here we are now. And we did a launch gig at Pizza Express in Dean Street in Soho in London, and yeah, really exciting. It's their first. It's Rubicon's first, because they're a classical music label, and they were just one of those kind of serendipitous things. They were looking to have some start having jazz on the label, and so it was a bit of luck, really. And yeah, and so we ended up recording it. That was never a thought that was in my mind, to be honest. I just wanted to play the music.
That's kind of cool, right? How that works. Actually, so there was a YouTube of you singing one of them, right?
There's there are not. Oh, I don't know if it's that. There might be something that somebody took on their phone. I'm not sure. There is there are YouTube videos with just the album cover, and then the song.
Oh, there are. Yeah.
Yeah, there's. I think there might be all of them, actually, all the songs.
Yeah, I would like to do that. Oh, well, sometimes YouTube takes me down, but does Spotify take me down? I don't know. We could do Spotify too. Um,
Yeah, sure.
let's see. Yeah, so what song should I do?
Well, I don't. Do you know what? I don't mind. I mean, because there were on that original album there were 6 songs. So there were 2 that Joni wrote. The God Must Be a Boogeyman and
The Wolf?
The Wolf That Lives in Lindsay. They were her 2 songs, and then the others were ones that she lyricized. He originally sent her Self Portrait in 3 colors, but she didn't. For one reason or another, she didn't feel it. She didn't. So that's what ended up being God Must Be a Boogeyman. Actually, there are 3. He is 3. So that was her sort of take on that. And I thought we needed to have more material. And I just thought, well, I'll see if I'll have a crack at writing some words. So that's my little contribution in that.
That's the wolf.
So
That
that
one,
one, so that one,
self-portrait.
self-portrait. Yeah.
And you also looks like you have, I mean, on Spotify anyway. There's Duke's Choice and Sweet Sucker Dance.
Yeah, so Sweet Sucker Dance, yeah, that's we've done the full version of that. There's yeah, Duke's Choice is just so we got on the original album, the original Mingus album. She had little interludes, I'm sure you know, and with her laughing with Mingus himself talking and different things like that. So I wanted to have interludes as well, and I just chose like there's like Better Get It in Your Soul. We've done a little snippets of those tunes, and Duke's Choice was one of those. In fact, when we do it live, we do Duke's Choice, and I did write some words to that as well. I have actually, yeah. Sorry, no, go on.
I was going to say I want to play that, and then I do want to hear the self-portrait.
Okay.
Okay, so here's Duke's Choice interlude.
Right, I'm ready. Waking is deceiving. Must have been dreaming when you whispered you were leaving. There's no good reason I thought to doubt or fear your love. And yes, I find I do.
It's such distinctive music, isn't it? Wow, that was a very cool thing. And then here's self-portrait. Great sound on this. Great
Is the
mix.
color of night, and my mood with no moon to brighten the darkness, or stars to lighten this blues. I'm always longing to be someone who's fashionably dressed to a T, nonchalantly loose and light. Clean the palette and start my painting anew. The crimson cheek keeps no secret of love or of rage, lashing out whenever I'm fearful, holding on to my tears to keep from showing myself as I am, honest and true, trusting in you, learning our tune as we play. Hold the chorus and start all over again. shows the shy ingenue in the wings where she stands awaiting her entrance, afraid to take center stage. Oh, she's the queen of the hill, holding court, conquer the walk, talk in the dark, losing the plot of this play. Hold the curtain and start all over again.
Lovely. That was beautiful.
I love the. I mean, I love the playing. The playing just kind of.
Yeah, the playing is exquisite. The recording quality is great.
It was great. Yeah, it was at a place, Echo Zoo Studio in Eastbourne, just along the coast, south coast, and produced as well by a really good friend and fantastic musician, actually, Mark Edwards, playing some other bands with Mark. And he's just done some beautiful things. He really, he's like the sixth member really of the band, because he really just added some beautiful things.
Yeah, did he? I just took a peek while I was listening. Did he write horns on that song?
Yeah, he did. He added horns there. In fact, they're not real ones.
It sounds gorgeous.
It does. I know. It's that's not. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if it was horns or a synth, and then I looked up one of your interviews on it, and it said horns. But yeah, it's really beautiful. So kudos to him for the mix and the addition of that, and the band sounds great. You sound great. Your words are beautiful.
Thank you. Well, that means a lot. Thank you.
Yeah. The record label should be very happy with this extension into jazz. It's high quality, very beautiful.
Yeah, they are really happy. Yeah, they are happy with it. They've been great. Yeah, very supportive, and yeah.
Yeah. So you've done other recordings?
Yes, I have actually. The video that you played, I was really excited earlier this year to go to Prague in Czech Republic, which I'd never been to before. But it was to do a live broadcast again, not something I've ever done. I mean, apart from streamed things, which I've done, but not actual on Czech TV. And we did 3 of the songs from another album that we recorded. We recorded in April this year, and Emil Vitlichky, who's fantastic, wonderful piano player, composer, known as the godfather of Czech jazz. He's played with everybody. He played Wynton Marsalis and George Mraz and so many people.
Yeah.
And yeah, they came over. He and lovely bass player Petr Dvorsky came over, and we recorded it. And it was a project that started in lockdown. I just literally sent some words to Emil. I'd met him on a gig. We'd done a gig again through Julian. Julian had worked with Emil a lot in the past. And I sent him just for stuff to do, in lockdown. It was like we were all kind of looking around what little projects. And I just sent him some words, and he said, "Oh yeah," and he was lovely. Yeah, I really liked them, and we ended up with 10 songs. Some that he'd written, some that he'd adapted from Moravian folk songs, which was that Gone with Water was one of those. Uh, and yeah, and so we've actually got an oh, it's there. Hang on 1 second, viewers. Wait a minute. We actually we actually did a vinyl. We got a vinyl of this one, which is really
Oh,
exciting as well. So it's songs. Yeah.
nice, beautiful cover.
Yeah, it's an artist. It's an artist that he knows is a Czech artist. I will never be able to pronounce his name properly in a million years, so I won't. I won't try and do that. But yeah, but it was yeah. So we're really really pleased with that, and we're going to do some. Going to launch that next year in the UK. Uh,
Cool.
previously to that, I've done very self-produced albums, but and some on another label, which we did that one on Beboss label, David Beebe, who's another great. Who, in fact, he's playing piano on the Mingus album. He's also in the studio, lovely studio in his home, and he's a great engineer and producer as well. So we did that at his place. Yeah,
What is his name?
David Beebe.
Oh, okay. I see. And therefore Bebas or whatever. What is
Boss, indeed.
That's nice. Well,
Yeah,
that's good. It sounds like there's a lot of quality stuff that's going on for you, and which is
yeah, yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel very fortunate to have such great musicians and people around so close. I mean, well, everywhere's close in England, really, isn't it? Let's face it. So, but yeah, it's really nice that people, there are all these kind of different collaborations that go on. It's really good. It's great. Yeah.
Do you get a chance to perform these songs live?
So, what the ones with Emile or the
Just in general, all these songs? I mean, I mean beyond the recording?
Yeah, well, I'm next year where we've got some gigs lined up in the just like a very kind of mini sort of tour for the Mingus Mitchell project, and also later in the year, probably around the summertime, we're doing we've got a gig at the let me pronounce this right, Brno International Jazz Festival, which is just again in Czech Republic. So we're going to go over, and then we'll probably do. We're going to launch gig in Prague as well itself at a fantastic jazz venue called Jazz Dock. It's great. It's on the river. It's just such a great club. It's really good. So I'm excited, and I went there as and what was watching some musicians when I was there in the summer. So I'm really looking forward to that as well.
Nice. Um, do you find it uh, do you find it hard to go somewhere and just suddenly be thrust into a live gig with this kind of music?
Yeah, sure, I do. I mean, we've done a fair amount of rehearsing, and we've done this, but not with Emile actually. Yeah, it isn't. For heaven's sake, I mean, going in, again, going in the summer and doing like a live broadcast. We did have a bit of a run through, but I think only we can tell.
Yeah, yeah.
I was a little bit kind of like wired because I was just there were like two cameras, and there I was, I don't know, and there's an audience there as well that were in a different position, so I was like, where do I look? Oh, so you look back at things, you think, oh God, but it's great. They turned out actually much better than I thought at the time. I thought, oh my God, I'm over singing, I'm shouting. I feel like I'm shouting, and because I couldn't quite hear everything. But but actually overall the experience was one, and they were great.
Yeah, yeah.
The whole team there, the TV channel were just lovely. Couldn't do enough
Yeah,
for you.
I feel kind of like your singing is similar to mine in that it's not a shouting kind of music. It's
No.
not, I mean, not that we don't swing, but w- um, you know, the music that we really prefer is kind of softer and within the music and the musicians. And
Yes,
it's so sometimes personally I have maybe slight issues with that because of the environment, the gig, the musicians, the expectations, you know,
yeah,
challenging for me to like just pull back and be me. And
absolutely. And not feel like I've got to be, you know,
yeah,
because that's not really so in certain situations that's what's called for.
yeah,
But for most time, you want to be listening and relaxed. And I mean, it's not always easy to feel relaxed, exactly relaxed. But there's a feeling when there's a sort of still a heightened performance sort of mentality going on, but it's not that sort of like,
yeah, right.
you know.
Hey,
And I tend to kind of go. When I get too nervous, I tend to go into that. So, but it's a lot. It's a journey, and you will, when I think of, how I've, learned things along the way, and I'm still learning, you
sure.
know, each and it's not like a kind of, well, I must beat myself, because I didn't do this or didn't do that. It's just like, no, okay, well, next time I'm going to just remember how I felt, and I'm just going to, it's all there.
Right, exactly. That's what I think too. Hi, Taylor. Yeah, I know. It's a very, yeah, there's some probably deep life lessons in that, about being yourself. I mean, we happen to be lucky enough to do it in singing, through music and stuff. But yeah, there's that, you don't have to push it. You just relax and be in the moment and tied in with the universe, and it all works out. One time I had a really good lesson in that many years ago. I don't know, maybe in my 30s, and I always forget the name of the pianist. He was a famous kind of stride pianist, and I had a party gig, right, with him. It was a jazz band, but he was famous, and his style was stride, which is definitely not my style. And the first set, I was desperately trying to match him, and it was terrible. I mean, to me, it was terrible. I'm sure it sounded okay to the audience, but so then on the break, I just thought, what am I doing? Just it doesn't matter. Just it really doesn't matter. And then the second set, I just sang like me, and the effect was great. Because that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants you just to come from yourself, and that's part of the adventure. It's like, oh, what are you bringing to the music?
What do you bring exactly? Yeah, yeah. You always there's that some idea I have that this is what's expected. I need to do this,
Yeah. Yes.
but actually no. It's like it's yeah. Maybe I will. I think I will. I'm kind of looking forward to that. Maybe it's not so far away, but I am looking forward to that thing when I just know I'm just doing, yeah, like listening, because there's something weird when you get into when I if I get into that sort of like, you know
Yeah.
or
Yeah. Yeah.
trying to meet somebody. Sometimes though, in those sort of situations, sometimes with some people, especially if you've not worked with the person before, and that happens a lot, right? You get booked to do a gig and it's not necessarily musicians, and it's great if you all kind of are on the same page, and it's like that. It's wonderful, but sometimes you kind of get somebody that is really, it's like they're like this, and they're doing what they do that, and so basically you have to kind of go to them, and that can be really tiring, and that maybe that was slightly the thing that you were talking about, and then like no, I'm going to do my thing, and the time. I know you can feel time differently, but uh, I think that sort of that meeting of those kind of quite different styles. I think, as you say, if we know what we're doing, it
Yeah.
can be amazing.
Yeah.
something really new and interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's, I mean, there's so much depth to this area. I
Mm.
kind of have a love-hate relationship with being in the studio. I'm
Yeah.
not, I prefer live, the experience of it. And when I go back and listen to what I've done, there's, you really need to pull yourself away from a personal, like it's you're in there. You have to kind of listen at a distance. But that what you were just talking about as far as rhythm, and whereas on the one hand, I feel like my best singing in the studio is when I can really be in the moment, really thinking and communicating about what I'm singing. Not, oh, I should reach that note, or, I should, or it would sound good if forget all that. That is just so, and it's so subtle. There's the finest line between that and just being.
Mm.
And so I kind of have a love-hate thing there. But the rhythm in particular is interesting. I don't even know if I can put it into words. Maybe you do this too with your rhythm. But I tend to be a little bit floaty in my rhythm. I don't, unless I'm doing that one, right? Then I can be really solid, man.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in my, kind of my unique approach, my own unique approach, I'm kind of floaty. I like to play with rhythm on my terms,
Hmm.
relating to the time, but stretching how I want to stretch. And sometimes it's not called for, in the with the arrangement or the musicians who are playing. And there's so much to think of, I mean, and that's why being in the moment and, not only delivering what you have to say in the moment, but as a singer and a musician, being aware of everything and contributing to the music broadly, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And that that thing as well in the studio that it's really hard to stop that voice saying this is the one, this is going to be down forevermore, you know. So you better, and also you there are so many choices, and like you just said, there's so many choices and so many different ways you could do this. How well, even listening back just then, I thought, I'm trying not to, but I'm thinking, I could have done it this, I could have, could have, But it's fine. It's fine. I wanted to. The main thing was I wanted to, sing these tunes honestly, and the words, and just get it down, and it doesn't. I think I'm less worried about that sort of, oh well, that's how in that point in time, that's how we did it, and that's how we chose to do it, but yeah, live it's very different, and yeah, I'm absolutely the same, because I'm not thinking, unless it's a live recording, then I start. You kind of don't want to know, do you? That's the ideal thing, is if you could be recorded and not know. Because I take risks. I don't take as many risks as in the studio,
Right.
anything like
Yeah.
uh, as I would do live. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but maybe that's okay, for
Maybe.
now.
Hi, Mark. So Taylor Hatch, he's a guitarist. He's a friend of mine. He's studying at one of the better jazz colleges in the States, University of North Texas.
Oh,
Anyway, so but he has great questions. Let's see what questions has he put up. As a vocalist, would you say that your approach to technique has changed over the years? Has your philosophy about practice changed, especially?
yes, and yes.
Good.
Well. Yeah, no, I practice. Well, I practice, and more importantly, I warm up more. And maybe it's just my voice is getting older, especially if I'm doing stuff like this that's quite demanding. I do need to keep things. I used to not, for years, just kind of turn up, do something, on the gig, do something a little bit, just to warm up with, don't nothing to, and it was a little bit kind of because I kind of thought I could get away with it, Um, so yeah, and my technique, well, because I listen to singers of all types, and there are things that I like, I take from, a little magpie, and I want to try, even, and I try and, things like what they call melisma, I'm not even going to try and know it. A lot of my students are amazing to these kind of licks, with the hand. Sorry, I'm doing the hand because you have to do the hand. And but I love it. I think it's so. I find it. I'm so impressed by it. And people that are really doing it. Maybe not when it's kind of overdone.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's a place. What I'm wondering is there bebop melisma. That's what I want to know. Can you do those kind of runs? They tend to be bluesy, blues scale, pentatonic type things. But I was thinking, God, can you do bebop? Anyway, that's another matter. And and my keys have changed. When I first kind of set my keys out for songs in my 20s, my voice was quite different. I probably did sing things a bit higher, not really super high. I haven't got a high voice, but now I can do quite a lot of things in original keys now. So the things that were way too low, I can.
Wow.
So. Yeah, I feel like my voice is lived in now in a way, not in a sort of like it's I've overused it or anything like that. But it feels a lot more reliable and solid actually. As I in my older.
Okay, his another question is what standards or songs have you been wanting to become more familiar with? And what songs do you go back to for inspiration?
Oh gosh,
Kind of a hard question to me.
that's hard to think off the top of my head.
I think you're probably doing what you want to do right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just love, I love that the repertoire. I mean, I do. I mean, I love Joni Mitchell. I love Joni. Actually, the Mingus album was the first album I'd heard of hers. I didn't believe it or not when I was 18. That's the one I heard. I'd heard bits of Blue, but not a lot. And then I went back and thought, oh my gosh, this is like it's like different singers, But I love that. I love the fact that she follows that. This is my art, and this is the way I'm going, And against a lot of dissenting voices, you really shouldn't do this, and terrible reviews. Mingus album apparently sold 60,000 copies in the late 70s and got panned really. As did her previous one, Don Juan's Reckless Daughter. And I think they're some of her most, yeah.
That was, to me, that was like a highlight moment for her.
Well, now it's accepted, or maybe later it's kind of accepted, but at the time, it was like the pop, her sort of pop folk fans were like, what's going on? What's happened to Joni?
Oh, well, maybe because I think it might have come out when I was in college, like in the 70s, the mid 70s.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
of course, because I went to Berkeley and jazz, and so that was a very open time for jazz and music in general. There was, Motown was very strong. It was just coming out of Woodstock, and Weather Report was coming, and ECM, the label, was
Yeah.
kind of stirring up, and so so maybe maybe I was just totally excited by it. But by the way, I just wanted to show you this record that my friend gave me. This is the
Oh,
Joni's latest record.
that's it. That's it. I know. I've got to get that. I
It's
know. I can't wait to.
fantastic.
It's
Great
just
record.
great. It's so great to see it because it was that, when she had that, when she was ill with the aneurysm. I mean, that was awful. I think probably along with a lot of people, we just thought, my God,
Yeah.
that's, so it's just so fantastic to see her performing again. It's fantastic. Absolutely.
It's a great record. The music is so good. The singers are so good. Everybody, it's just
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, okay, so are there any standards
So,
coming off of his question? Do you go return to certain standards? Do you love certain standards?
oh yeah, absolutely, I do. I mean, uh, do you know what's new is one that I just love.
And
I come back to that many times, and it's kind of meant different things at different. So I just think it's such a great.
I missed that song. What?
Sorry, say that again. Sorry.
I missed that actually because I had my
Oh,
finger had put.
what's new?
Oh,
That's
what's new? Yeah, yeah.
yeah. Um, oh God, it's really hard to say. I mean, the Great American Songbook is what and the albums that I started listening, I listened to learn standards were the Ella Fitzgerald songbooks, and obviously and Sarah Vaughan as well, and Billie Holiday. All those, that was my kind of learning. So, funnily enough, actually, I said if I'm teaching songs, sometimes I just teach a song by ear, and to students, and somebody will say, "Oh, is that the right? Are you sure that's the right melody? Because I think it's written, da 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 da." And it's like that's the way I learned it, and I'm like still singing it that way. And of course, I sort of say, no, that's the right melody. And I love all those sorts of songs. But actually, what do you know? What one of my favourite albums of Ella's? Not that that's a question, but it's just made me think because is that album "Clap Hands, Here Comes Charlie." And it's just there's a track on there, My Rev. I just love the whole album actually because I think she just sounds so beautiful on it. But she does a song called My Reverie, which is the Reverie, by Debussy, made into a standard by somebody Clinton, not.
Not Strayhorn or somebody like that.
No, I think it might be Larry Clinton. I'm not sure whether he was I don't know much, but I just remember loving that, and I did that a lot. And you mentioned as well. You did mention ECM. I know that's not kind of standards, but I love that ECM, the whole ECM. And one of my favorite singers, Norma Winstone, who yeah, wonderful. And she's probably now she's still the person that I look to and I go back and listen to again and again. There's always, she's so prolific. There's so much of her. In fact, I'm trying to put together a sort of volume of all of her lyrics because she's written so many lyrics to so many great compositions from the 60s. So I want to try and do that as my kind of little project. I did talk to her about it actually before. And in about 2018 and 19, I said, I wanted, words of Winstone. They ought to all be there as a resource. Yeah.
That's nice. That's really a good idea. I like that idea.
Yeah.
She's
And
really
then
great.
I'll do yours.
Yeah, but that's a great idea. I love that idea. And she's really such a great lyricist. And yeah, she's a really interesting jazz heroine, I think. She's not that singing at all, right? I mean, it's totally not that. And yeah, she's
Yeah.
very beautiful and light, and her range is crazy. And I did see a video of hers. It was a live performance, and I had never seen her like that. It was looser than what I had seen previously. Like previously, I'd seen her with Kenny Wheeler or that kind of thing, which was not tight, but it was, I don't know, it had a kind of a particular space to it. But this other one was wider open, and you really thought, wow, that's a great singer, responding to the band, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah, she's just great. I love her.
But
Yeah.
you performed, you've performed with her, haven't you?
She actually, I invited her to be on a record,
Oh,
which
that's right, which I have. That's right, I knew that. Yeah,
yeah,
yes, fantastic.
yeah, that was so much fun because the tone of our voices is somewhat similar.
It is. It really is. And in fact, it's almost like, well, who's that? Who's that now? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, so
You're
that was fun. And then it was just fun because I had written the lyrics to that Abercrombie song when I was in college, but
yeah.
she had had a gig across from John Abercrombie, and every night she heard that song and she loved it. And then when I came to her and asked her to do that song, it was kind of full circle, it was really nice.
I love
Yeah.
that. It's
That was
nice.
that was fun. I'm glad I got a chance to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually sent her an email recently because do you know Jay Clayton?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really
And
don't know her, but I know of her. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, so of course Norma and she were very close. They worked together. But Jay is she's not doing well.
So
She's she's probably getting, I don't know how else to say this, but she's getting ready to leave the planet. And so I wanted to, I tried to get in touch with Norma she probably knows, but anyway, you just never know who is not connected, and it's only been happening in the last year. So, a year can go by very fast between conversations.
absolutely.
Yeah.
God, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
What an inspiration. Incredible
I
inspiration.
know.
Yeah.
Jake, she's really been an interesting singer.
Mm.
She was very good friends with Sheila Jordan, like
Right.
cohort.
Yeah.
Uh, and but many more people know who Sheila Jordan is. And I don't think it's just because they have a number of years between them, which is probably not that many, maybe 10. But
Hmm.
they both traveled the same circles, and but Jay was less known in a broader sense, but very unique and wonderful, and yeah, just interesting to look at our careers.
Mm.
And we could talk about this too, actually. Um, how we envision the development of our careers, what we think, where we think we're going. Are we disappointed in the fact that we're not, on page one of the newspaper all the time, or all of that kind of stuff, notoriety? I know it's a big subject, but I think it's interesting. I find it interesting because, I guess, because a general reason why I think it's interesting is because it's probably the bottom line to make myself feel better. You know what I mean? That's the
Yeah.
bottom line.
Yeah.
But but in actual fact, I do keep I do keep let's see, getting other people's agreements on their reality on that too, and what what really life is about, what do we really want or need in life. And I don't know, there's a lot, right? There's like a lot
There's
of
a lot.
stuff in there.
There is a lot, and it's also, I was always, because people like Norma. she was like my heroine, and that was, you know, much as I loved Ella and I loved all those singers, I knew that I wasn't going to emulating and I mean, I do like to wear a nice dress, but wearing, you know, doing that, not doing the jazz. Sorry, that's to sort of denigrate that people that sing that kind of style, the sort of 40s, 50s style. You know, Anita O'Day's, and you know, you know, and you know, and oh God, not even to mention Betty Carter, and she's one of my absolute favourites as well. But she actually is different because she absolutely forged her. She and Carmen McRae as well. I always think of they kind of did the girl singer thing, and then they moved on and did their, you know, running their own bands. And I was so glad I got to see Betty Carter at Ronnie Scott's. Actually, I saw her in the 90s, and Sarah Vaughan as well. It must have been late 80s maybe. So I'm so you know, unbelievably grateful that I was able to see them live. But yeah, so I always wanted to. I knew it wasn't going to be. I wasn't going to be that kind of singer, and I didn't quite know it. If I'd known it was going to take quite as long as it took to sort of get to. I mean, because even now, yeah, you know, not certainly never going to be on the front page of broadsheets or whatever, or on the, you know, the sort of primetime TV shows, talk shows or whatever, unless you do something that people recognise as jazz and a jazz singer, you know, which I don't really, you know. I'm born in Hammersmith, born in, you know, West London, you know. It's like, but you know, Norma for me represented, well, you know, that's something that and also it was the lyrics. It was her lyric writing, but it was also her involvement, and like like yourself as well, that involvement and being part of the whole sound. And that's what I always wanted. You know, it was, I had to be kind of pushed to the front to actually be the front, you know, the you know, the girl singer. And I found that excruciating actually to start with. When I set myself up, I like to be in a nice little semicircle. I still do. I hate being at the front. I have to turn around to people. I hate it.
I do too.
So that's kind of, sometimes the stage is that small, you know, and you have to. But yeah, I like being able to see people, you know.
Yeah.
I think I've gone completely off piece. I don't know what I've started saying.
I can't remember, but I have a few other questions. My friend
Yeah.
Mark says he loves your singing Lawns, which I'd like to hear that because I love that song and Carla Bley. But he says, as a singer, what's the biggest challenge you face to be more creative and fresh in presenting your songs?
I think I'm always looking for things, like, for example, I'm always looking for interesting things. And the reason I started writing lyrics was because I wanted to be part of these compositions that I loved. And I wanted to be taken on that journey and go along and maybe say something as we were going, you know. And I'm more than happy to sing wordlessly. I love singing just as part of the voice as an instrument, and just sing again like Norma, you know. And I love doing that and disappearing into the whole texture of the thing. I love that. And I do other people's things. I get asked it's lovely to get asked for other people to come and maybe do a few things. David Beebe, you know, who plays on the Mingus album, his music is incredible, his composition. So, and it's very intricate, and I have to, when I've recorded stuff with him, I have to kind of do it bar by bar, you know, because it's kind of really tricky. And then when you hear the finished thing, it sounds like I've just sung it all in one go, you know.
Right.
But I love that. But you know, and I've done, like, if I get asked to do something and it's for a program of concerts, then I might think, I won't just think, well, there's nothing wrong with doing, like, picking some nice standards and some nice tunes and doing that. I love that. But for a few things, I've, like, the Tom Harrell, whose compositions I've always loved, and I found myself writing a kind of set or 2 sets worth of lyrics to his music. So that's really what excites me. I like compositions that I like, and I just said, oh, and fantastic, Joe Locke. Joe Locke. Well, I sent him some lyrics as well, and he was lovely about it. He just was so encouraging and really liked them. And I don't. He certainly isn't somebody to say that he likes something if he doesn't. So,
Yeah,
I've got an idea. I'd like to do something with him.
yeah,
Or if
great. He's wonderful. My friend, I think Paul did. Yeah, Paul Jost. He's a really great singer from
oh,
the East
I think
Coast
I
of
heard
the
that. Yeah,
States. He's very interesting. He's a storyteller. He's
yes,
a drummer. He's like a really good drummer, but he's been really focusing on his singing
right.
career. Yeah, and he's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, people just are moved.
Is that DOS? I have to write these things down. DOST, is it Paul Dost?
Jay,
Oh,
Jost.
great. Sorry.
Yeah,
Right. Okay.
yeah. But I think he did some work with Joe as well. But
Hmm.
Joe's pretty fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joyce agrees. That's cool. Hey, let's listen to Lawns, can we?
Yeah. Is that the one in the club?
Yes, I believe
Yeah.
so. Is that okay?
Yeah. This was filmed by the Claire Martin OBE, by the way.
Oh, all
And it's
right.
Hugo, actually, who's a great, amazing singer, pianist. Yeah. And I sat in.
Cool. Okay, here we go.
Wonderful American composer and pianist, Carla.
Oh, I don't know.
He was
For a long time,
she's
far too long.
says Hoover, it's Hoover song, so lovely. And it's not
Oh, too much talking.
she sighs because she knows the seasons come and go. On her face she feels the rain of spring that gives her strength to
Oh, damn.
Composer
Darn.
Carlo.
I wanted to see that.
That's Kurt's version now.
Right.
Interesting that came out next.
Yeah.
I wrote mine first. No, I.
Did you write the lyrics, did you say?
Yeah. But I love Kurt Elling. Sorry, I just,
I love him sometimes, and sometimes I don't love him. But
Yeah.
sometimes I really do love him. I love, one thing that I loved during the pandemic was he came out with the Paul Simon song, a video, American song, American Tune. Did you ever see that?
I haven't heard his version of it. No. Okay.
With a video. It was absolutely stunning. It was great.
I'll check
Yeah, but Carla Bley, I think I'm kind of fascinated with Carla Bley because she's obviously harmonically kind of progressive, but sometimes her songs can be so beautiful, simple, like Lawns. It's just very simple, melodic song. Your lyrics and your singing really bring the listener into the imagery, which, I think is kind of prime for a singer to do, right? To create the image so strongly for themselves that the audience just travels along, can't help it.
I like that. Yeah. Yes, I think that's right. That's true. And I'm sure. I'm sure it's the same for you. That when I'm writing lyrics, they have to, unless there's no other way to express or no other word that's going to be better. It has to fit with the melody. Absolutely, I can't be doing with it not. So I try. I want to be absolutely true to the melody, kind of imposing something on it. But it's given. It just gives it a different. What's the word? I was going to say not dimension, but different take on it. I suppose it's a bit like just it's a version of that tune. It just happens to have some words, but yeah. I like the image. I like being sort of taken on those journeys. Yeah, seeing those images.
Yeah, also, I've just noticed that when singers write lyrics, it tends to be better because, not all the time, but because if we're going to sing it, we know that this phrase, we don't want to interrupt this phrase. You know what I mean?
No, that's it.
Music is two parts. We don't want to interrupt this one phrase. It's things like that, and how the words feel in our mouths as we're singing, the notes, and all of that kind of stuff too. I had this one song that's on one of my new records, the No Net record. There's a brilliant pianist here, Otmaro Ruiz, who's from Venezuela, and he he's brilliant. He's just a brilliant guy. This one song he wrote for his daughter, he obviously loves it too because he plays it on every gig, but I just am in love with the song, and every time I hear it, I just like, oh God, here it is, And so I wrote lyrics and I put it on the No Net record, and it's kind of a challenging song because he wrote it as an instrumental song, And although his wife sings it without lyrics, she's a really good singer, Katina DeLuna, and she sings she's like another instrument. She's right there, singing it. It's really cool. But you know, being the singer and having words, I can take a little bit of liberty. It's
Yeah,
not the
yeah.
kind of song really I can take a lot of liberty because it's really it's got a
Oh, I
melody.
can hear it now.
Yeah, it's really cool. I think you'd like it. I'll share it with you when it's ready.
Yeah.
It's yeah, it's really a pretty song. But anyway, it can be very interesting writing. Do you write music as well?
Yes, I do. But I haven't got that kind of compositional thing to so that I can come through composing or not even that. But I write songs. I write. They kind of they might be a little bit more kind of poppy, folky, possibly. Yeah, I haven't really got that kind of harmonic. What is it? That's why I
Well,
like.
I'm going to tell you something
Right. Yeah, go
as
on.
a songwriter, and especially for you and I, coming from where we're coming from, singing and listening, right? Because we're coming from a similar place.
Yeah.
What I found was songwriting comes kind of in like an artist series, like, oh, I'm painting all red for a month, and then I don't want to paint red anymore. So it's kind of like that. I've had these weeks where I'll create kind of what I call a folky folky kind of material, which jazz players will take that and create, more jazz stuff. If you listen to my record Dreamsville, you'll hear two songs that I wrote like that. And so, um, and then out of the blue, I'll come up with this great jazz song that I won't necessarily hear the chords first, the harmony first. I
Mm.
I might hear the melody,
Yeah.
and the melody will lead me. So I have found that if I play piano to develop a song, many times it's a much more simple song, pop or folky, because that's where my piano playing is. But if I
Yeah.
sing,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's true actually. Yeah.
yeah,
And I don't do that enough. Just sing, just kind of create.
yeah.
Mm. Ah, yeah.
Aha.
Ah, yeah.
Mark would like to know, would you consider singing remotely for a recording project?
Yes.
There you go, Mark.
Let's do it. Let's do it, Mark. Yeah, I mean, again, a great sort of in a way, weird way. That was one of the kind of things to come out of the lockdown was getting myself finally knowing how to use my recording stuff. My partner, he years trying to teach me, and I just kind of glaze over, and I've kind of, you know. But so that taught me that, and now I can actually do that. So yes, yeah, send me some stuff.
Yeah, me too. I have my recording stuff, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
okay, come on.
Well,
Um,
I'm really impressed with you doing all this. I'm not a multitasker. I don't know what happened, but I missed the boat on that. So I'm always impressed with people that are kind of talking away and then you're kind of making something happen there or on here.
unfortunately and unfortunately, I am a multitasker because sometimes I'd rather not be a multitasker, but I kind of can't help myself.
No, no, well, that's good. I think
Maybe because I'm a Gemini too. I don't know.
all right. Yeah.
Um, by the way, lovely painting in the background.
Oh yeah, that's a friend of ours. It's kind of still on permanent loan. He just didn't have room for it. Shall I just scroll up? Yeah, it's just a friend of ours who did it. Yeah, I know. I love it.
Yeah, beautiful.
Sometimes it looks like a lot of red. You know those what we used to call Dulux dogs, old English sheepdogs. It looks like a lot of old English sheepdogs, weirdly, and that's what I saw when I first looked at it. And the little noses and just a lot of fur. But it's puppies, for God's sake. Anyway,
Oh, let's see. Taylor wants to know, where do you think the direction of jazz is going? And is there, do you have an outlook or a feeling about the direction?
Yeah, I mean, it's, when you look back at the sort of the jazz timeline, you can see these very kind of clear, stations along the way, can't you? And and then what happens sort of in between. But right now, I think because I mean, I think it's hard because I think there are quite a lot of different sort of things going on. Um, there is, like we were talking about earlier, there is this kind of new wave of people, and a lot of singers doing doing the sort of 40s, 50s. I mean, like but things like Veronica Swift, I mean, and fantastic. I mean, I just think she's fantastic. Um, but it kind of does evoke some of the maybe not her new album. There's some it's kind of very very sort of different stuff and new stuff, and but there are a lot of singers that have heard that and they kind of wanted to do that sort of style. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of a little bit. It's like harking back, really.
Yeah.
And like so I don't know what do I think. Yeah, I think in the UK, it's probably maybe it's different than it is in the States. I don't know, but I'm interested to know what your take on it actually. Um, but in the UK, I think it's you do have the school that came out of the people like Norma Winstone, John Taylor, and Kenny Wheeler, and a lot of like for me, those musicians. That was in the mid '80s. They were all doing stuff and they were all kind of in their prime actually. So and also this kind of the world music thing. I loved not the world, the fusion music. So it's like I don't know. I don't know where it's going. Maybe it's not so. Maybe it's easier to sort of look back once we've kind of come through it, to look back and see where it was, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Um, well, my most my most vivid considerations come from Los Angeles because there's a lot of music happening here. It's definitely lots of people here. I'd say, I'd kind of compare it to New York, but New York has a different vibe. There's a lot more stuff happening. The same stuff is happening, but a lot more.
Right.
And and there's kind of an,
In New York, a lot more is happening. Did you say?
yeah,
Or yeah,
yes.
right.
And there's kind of an edgier emotional and musical and
Mm,
maybe spiritual feel. And but it's definitely I um I would say more of a mixture of styles, edgy. Um,
mhm,
there's some kind of an edge that is coming along with the music and the
mm,
playing, and also the singing, like you were just talking about Veronica, for instance. Yeah, there's singers in that style that seem to have a broad, and this is nationally or internationally maybe, but have a broad reach into the broad public, which is, that's always been an issue, no matter what genre or what, whether it's straight ahead or whatever. It's always been an issue. Some jazz snobs, or whatever, would say, "Oh no, that's not really jazz," and that's not my favorite singing,
mm,
and many times it's not my favorite music to listen to.
mm,
I'd rather hear, like the first thing we heard of yours. I would rather hear something like that these days. That's rich It's rich harmonically. There's dynamics. There's space. There's acoustic instruments. There's a sense of everyone's listening to each other throughout the whole thing. That's where I personally like, and I know Taylor likes that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, so and then there's of course a faction like this year. I heard a lot more avant-garde,
Hmm.
and that's talk about kind of an overlooked genre in
Mm.
general. I mean, they have their fans and their players like solidly, and they work a lot, and it's very strong. But on a general point of view, it's probably the lower amount of people really
Yeah.
paying attention to that. Um, so there's that. There's you know I guess there's bebop and straight ahead, although I don't actually hear that a lot. You know, I think I think even that music has been affected by a more, I want to say, modern tendency.
Hmm.
It's interesting where it's going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as long as I know where I'm at, then I'm okay. You know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not probably even not the best person to ask in a way, or not the best, but I mean, I because I tend to go, but I don't. I'm not necessarily listening to stuff that's, that is that current. I mean, I will do. Somebody points out and I see something on, or somebody tells me about my students. It's great because they kind of they keep me a bit more current, really like that. But I kind of go back to things. I tend to go back you know. But yeah, yeah.
Do you go out and listen to music much?
I, I don't as much as I'd like because I do, as I said, I've got these two little dogs. One has real kind of separation anxiety, really bad. Uh, so either my partner and I, we have to sort of be, one of us has to be in, and we do get kind of dog sitters. But so it's, yeah, it's not as much as I'd like. Um, but I do like. I'm a bit picky. I like the sound to be good because that'll just ruin it for me. If the sound is kind of just awful, I just won't enjoy it. I'd rather be sitting at home and connecting the computer up to some good speakers and then and watching a gig, a lot yeah, video. Because yeah, bad sound is, it,
Right. Yeah, I tend to go out often,
yeah.
a few times a week maybe, but I listen to a lot of various things. Like this week, I have a gig on tomorrow at a place called Casey's, which is it's kind of like that kind of gig. It's a real swing group, and
Yeah.
they're all friends of mine, and they do other material, but it's just so much fun swinging hard with them. And the place is a very relaxed place, no cover, cheap drinks, friendly crowd. But then Friday I'm going to go see this wonderful singer that I heard, who I'd never heard of her, but I guess she's kind of a well-rounded. She'd been on one of those TV shows, where discover people, and she has a wide fan base, including people like Stevie Wonder and stuff. But when I saw her sing, it was actually a Joni Mitchell tribute, and she was the last singer, and I was totally drawn in by her. Her name's Brenna Whitaker, and I fell in love with her immediately. And so I'm going to go see her, and then Saturday I actually Saturday I'm running a jazz fundraiser at that place that I book. And Sunday, there's a friend of mine, two friends of mine performing at a house venue. So, that'll be 4 nights I'm out this week.
Wow. Yeah.
And Sunday night, we saw Steve Gadd with a small group, like a quartet, and it was
Yeah.
really good.
Wow.
Um, and they were, what I do find is I don't know how to describe it. There's certain things that I'm less prone to like now. And when it's more polished, I'm prone to like it less. So, yeah. So, like the week before, there was probably one of my most favorite performances I've seen, which was there's a really good guitarist here who I've recorded with, and he's kind of the sweetheart guitarist here, Larry Kuntz. And you've probably heard of Peter Bernstein, right?
Yeah.
So Peter Bernstein and Yoti Silberstein, I think that's his name. I was not familiar with him, guitarist. I think he's from New York. And Taylor, you probably know. And Joe LaBarbera on drums.
Oh,
And
wow.
a young bass player who has been used for many years here, named Mike Garola, who's really beautiful, solid, and sensitive. And a lot of people have used him in these last years. But anyway, it was one of my favorite gigs ever.
Wow.
I mean, they
Where,
played the songs.
where was it?
Sorry.
Where was the gig?
It was at this strange little room that has developed over the last few years, right literally next to the airport.
Oh,
It's
right.
called Sam First. It's a small room, probably holds, I don't know, maybe 60 people, something like that. It's small.
Like super small. Yeah.
It's shaped kind of oddly.
Yeah.
Bar, a little bit of food, and very nice sound, great piano. And they book more modern jazz, there.
Mm.
And yeah, so it was. I also love guitar. I'm kind of a
Mm.
guitar hog, so I was kind of in guitar heaven. It was like,
Yeah.
oh my God, just wonderful. And Joe LaBarbera created such magic. I mean, it couldn't have been more perfect. It was really beautiful, really beautiful.
Oh, I bet.
So I like seeing that kind of stuff, but
Mm.
I find that I do get, and this has happened over the years, but even more so now, I get kind of pissed off when the music is not that. Like I went to see Javan,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, which,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
right? I mean, he's the king, of Brazil. So I went to see him. It was an old theater in LA, so I'm sure it held 800 to 1,000 people in it, and there was a space in the front where people were standing, and he was wonderful. He's like an incredible writer and singer and performer, but the crowd was singing along with him, which in one sense of performance and life, that's great, you know? But in another sense, for me, it gets old because he's never stretching out of, the automatic. I mean, he's still present and wonderful because
Mm.
but so that kind of thing kind of annoys me and bores me after a while. I'm not really there anymore.
Mm. Well, that's when you might as well be watching it on the
Yeah.
TV,
Yes.
because you kind of want that to be that thinking, that idea that this is new, this is happening now, something different. Yes, okay, there's rehearsed things, but yeah, You want there to be that. You know, funny enough, I think it was it was probably about 5 years ago. There's a jazz festival in Sussex called Love Supreme, and one year the headline was George Benson. So I was kind of so excited to see him. I mean, I did like the poppier, more popular, but I really wanted to hear. I thought, well, it's a jazz festival, and it is a jazz festival essentially. And I thought that he'd be doing a lot of the kind of his earlier, his kind of jazz guitar thing, and there was nothing. I don't think he did take five. I was like, and everyone was singing, "Give Me the Night," and then flick band, and which was, it was amazing, and there he was, and it was great. But I kind of was like, I could really just be at home, Yeah, I was kind of disappointed, but then I suppose who knows. But yeah, I did go and see, actually, fairly recently, I went to see a big band at Ronnie Scott's, and that's something as well, which is really lovely to see, which was Stan Saltzman, wonderful tenor player and composer, and he was working with this. It was his 75th birthday sort of celebration, and that was wonderful, and it was sort of new music. It was his compositions, and he has a great ideas for titles. He has some great titles. I love that. I love musicians and composers that think about their titles. I know it can be a bit of a struggle, because that also, as a lyricist, I kind of want to. One of his tunes was called Loyalty. No, it wasn't called Loyalty Card, but it was Coffee Time or something. But it was to do with those little loyalty cards you get, and that you can never find one. It was a really kind of simple thing, It's like every time you think, oh, I've nearly got to my free cup of coffee, and something. And I loved it, and it was a great tune. Whatever he called it, it was a great tune. But it just made me want to sort of write something, Inspired my imagination.
Yeah. There's some really great big band writers here that are stretching the boundaries, of the typical big band stuff, which is very good, refreshing to hear, and great players, but the sounds are really interesting, very good, very different,
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, let's see. What are some questions? I like to go back and forth. Let's see. Sorry, Taylor. What helps you when you encounter a barrier or rut in your practice, and how do you remind yourself to be humble in those moments? I don't even think about humility myself. I'm just like, oh yeah, I got to go over that.
I've got to go over it. That's it. I have the kind of brain that I'm like a bit of a dog with a bone with something. It won't go. It won't go until it's learnt. Actually, I'm singing it all the time, and it can almost drive me to a little bit distraction. But I like that. Actually, funnily enough, I wrote a lyric to. I also had another idea. I wanted to write lyrics to singers solo, scat solo. So I've written one. What have I done? An Andy Bay solo that on a tune called "Believe in It" that Claire Martin recorded on her album, and she wanted a lyric for this solo because she wanted to sing solo. So I wrote it for that, and that just started me thinking, and Sheila Jordan, there's one of hers, and so it was one of hers, and it's the one, and it's one that I knew. I hadn't even tried to learn it, but it just stayed on. A rhythm changes. So she does that. So anyway, and I wrote a thing about that whole thing of a song, when a song gets into your head and you can't, and you've got to do something with it.
Yeah.
So I suppose it's repetition, and I quite enjoy that. I don't know if I've got a properly structured practice routine. It sounds like Taylor, could teach me a thing or two about practice routines. Um, yeah, it's usually about learning and just trying to
Yeah.
get something.
Yeah. Um, let's see. And I guess this is the kind of question that you can't ask too often. But as the year closes,
Hmm.
I just heard somebody knock. Let me just see if my husband is around. I don't think he is. I'm gonna put on something. Oh, no, he is. Okay, good. All right.
Yeah, good.
So let's see. As the new year closes, what ambitions or aspirations are you hoping to apply to yourself, either musically or interpersonally?
Ooh, that is a good question.
People always say that, Taylor, to your questions. Ooh.
That's good. Well, I'm looking just over your right shoulder there. I can see the word gratitude, and especially over this last year, I've had some, two done. I've made two. I know it's not quite your standard of three recordings, but I made two recordings. I've been to Prague and sung live on Czech TV. Lots of some really wonderful. Oh, I taught on a summer school, a very kind of long established jazz summer school in the summer, and met and lots of people that I knew, but also some amazing tutors, musicians that I admire. And that was amazing. And so I can't. I mean, if I get anything, anything that happens next year is going to be a kind of amazing kind of bonus. But I know that I have some plans for next year. Like I think I've talked about already with these projects. But I'm also excited to think because some things come out of the blue. Somebody phones up and says, "Oh, can you do that?" That's how a lot of these things happen. Some things were planned, but some things over this past year have just kind of happened. And I've just thought, yes, I want to do that. So I'm just excited, and I hope there'll just be some exciting collaborations. That's the thing that I love. Uh,
That's a good answer.
yeah.
What's Can you tell us a few of your favorite records?
Well, the Joni's Mingus's, because it was such a sort of pivotal thing, and actually when that also led me to Mingus's which I just love that album. Pretty much, everything, from like, I do like her previous stuff, but Court and Spark kind of onwards of Joni's, I just,
Yeah,
just,
Cortland Spark is great.
and I mentioned that one, the Ella one, but oh God, they're probably, I'm going to kick myself now afterwards because I go, oh, why didn't I say that? But
Well, that's why I say just a few because, I mean, it's so widespread.
but I love Al Jarreau. I love, and I love, um, there's his. I think it might have possibly been one of his last albums, and it's kind of he got back to his kind of jazz. Because that first, actually, no, it's not the first one, but that album that's got things like Stockholm Sweetening, and Sleeping Bee, I love that album. I'm not even sure, I can't remember what it's called, but it's with him with a quartet, with a trio.
Yeah.
Um, uh, oh baby, oh gosh, yeah, here we go. Yeah,
I'm looking for the Sleeping Bee. It's from
that's it.
what is it?
Oh,
Um,
and I
let's
love the
see.
way he starts. That's his second chorus. I just love it as well. You know that. Talking
Yeah,
about
this well, I brought up his greatest hits, so that's not the one. But what about is this it? Maybe.
no, what is it?
Uh, Let's see. A sleeping bee, come rain or shine.
He does do that on there, yeah. He does that, and he does, yeah, stuff and sweet.
Sorry, I I
Like,
muted
yeah,
you by mistake.
just
I wanted to share the screen. This is this right here, that cover.
that's it. Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, yeah.
Yep. Anyway, okay. Where am I?
He does that in second chorus. I'm talking about a bee, not an ant, but a bee, and it's sleeping in the palm of my hand. I just love that.
God,
That's
that's, I think it's it might be I thought about you. He does
the
this
album.
amazing, no, the song,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
amazing thing with it that I always love to listen to, and I thought, oh, I want to do that. I want to do it like that, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that was could have been, or it's I don't know, one of those little arrangements that just came up probably for
Yeah,
him.
I think he did those. I think those, he was very kind of,
Yes.
I saw him live as well, actually. And he called out to the, yeah. And he was kind of calling out here, what do you want to hear? What do you want to hear? You know, and some people did say, thankfully, said things like take five and oh, it's just great. Yeah.
I'll have to brag. I mean, it's not really a brag, but because I was 21. Yeah, I was 21. I went to his wedding.
Oh, wow.
Because I was a waitress at a jazz club, Dante's, and his wife, Susan, was a waitress too. So they weren't married yet, you know, and that was when he was kind of just becoming famous.
Yeah,
It was like
right.
76-ish. And yeah, and they had a wedding in Topanga Canyon, which is a really beautiful area here.
I've heard of the
Yep.
Barbican.
It's so long ago. Oh my God. Let's see. Do you have any thoughts? We kind of touched vaguely on this, but do you have any thoughts of looking back and wishing or wondering if you had done something a little different, what might have become?
Yeah, I mean, I always think what because I know there are some singers and musicians that kind of really hit the ground running, and they're kind of ready from the get go, and they know what they're doing, and they're kind of very focused. I was not that, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. There were so many things like that. So many kind of styles and things that I liked. That I couldn't really just say, right, that's me.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready for that. So, and actually, I've got less and less kind of, judgmental about what I did and didn't do, because actually, I think it's all led me to where I am now. And some people, and thankfully, in this music, it's not, you can keep going and going and going. It's not a young person's game, thank God. Jazz. I mean, so. But I just the confidence thing. And I was very easily put off my game if I thought somebody's not liking it or something. I get a comment or something. It used to completely floor me. And but that said, I sort of still had this idea. I still had and hearing also. I love the Return to Forever, the album as well. With that was a really important album for me, with the Flora Purim and Ayrton. That I loved that whole kind of vibe, and that was also what I thought I wanted to have, that kind of a band. But I just thought, how the hell is that going to happen? But then obviously I don't want to just oh my God, maybe that's the next album. No, I wouldn't try and do that. But so I liked standard. So it was like, and even now I can't. I find it hard to sort of fall into a what kind of a jazz singer am I? I don't know. Am I even a jazz singer? Sometimes I wonder. um, who knows?
That's good. You don't have to. That's a good answer. Um, this is an interesting question of Taylor's. On the topic of confidence,
Mm.
what did you find about stage presence over the years that was most helpful to you the more you sang?
Things that you've been talking about, the sort of being present and being and listening and being part of what's happening now, not trying to, you know, well, that's not how we rehearsed it. I never wanted that to ever come out of my mouth. I mean, that's different for certain things, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, but also about sort of stagecraft. There is that. You know, people that. Well, actually, what I've really learned about the being present and not. I'm a bit of a fidget. I'm a terrible fidget. I mean, I'm doing it now, but on stage, that's why I love. I love watching Sarah Oshlag, because she's just, she might just. She's really poised, and not when she's singing, it's all kind of happening, but it's just that she's very, and I'm like, I'm sort of like, I don't know why I can't. It's maybe a little bit adult ADD or something like that, maybe. So what's that got to do with anything? What was I saying? Oh yeah, so I've learnt. I've kind of sort of taken some of that and just to remind myself just to be still, because I'm sometimes I can kind of distract myself from what I'm, if that makes any sense. But I've learnt a lot from Claire Martin. She's a really good friend as well. But she's what I loved about her dynamics. She has great dynamics, and she'll get up close, and then she'll go, and also the way she'll pick up. She might start a song with the mic on the stand. I know this sounds like really basic stuff, and but she'll start with the mic, and then she'll take it off at the right. But I seem to always end up kind of buffing myself in the face with it, and it's not because I'm trying to be like that, but there are certain things that I do like a bit of. A little bit of polish in certain places, not what's happening necessarily, not what's coming out of my mouth when I'm singing, but the like I can't. I get really annoyed with people, a lot of faffing around between, and I do it. I know I've done it, and I do it, but the faffing between songs and like what you do what. No. And it's all right. And so now I like, because as an audience member, you're kind of now. So now, if I know there's going to be, if we, sometimes you got to sort something out. So I bring the audience in, and I'll say, so what do you think? What do you think we should do? He doesn't know it in this key, and so I might try and do that. Just being more aware of the audience, and that they're a part of it. I didn't really, I think a lot of people thought got how much really missed a live audience when we couldn't perform live. I mean, that was, I don't know about you, it was kind of,
Oh yeah.
that was
That's why I started this noontime hang. I literally started it the day the shutdown happened. Yeah.
fantastic.
And
Yeah.
actually, I just thought I was going to have just talk with people, just everybody who came on Facebook. And Sina E came on, and I said, "Oh, you want to be my guest?" And that was the beginning. There's a singer I really admire. Do you know Sina?
I know the name. Is
Sina,
that, how do you pronounce it? How do you spell that?
Sinne, and her last name is Eeg. And I'm a big fan of hers. She's not she's I don't know how old she is, in her 40s maybe. I don't know. She's a beautiful woman, and she played saxophone first, so
Mm.
she has a real good air and tone awareness. But the thing that I adore about her is that she's so present and real, and you're right there with her as she's making choices, and they're beautiful choices. And
Wow.
yeah, she's really a good singer. She's also a good writer, and yeah, I'm a big fan of hers. Yeah. So hi Hiroki, Ohayo gozaimasu. Hiroki, I don't know if I told you, but I'm coming to Japan in May, so let's see each other. Um, yeah, usually I have gone to Japan many times, but when the I was actually supposed to go in March of 2020, and then I didn't. And then the last time I went was 2019, which
Mm.
was definitely not my usual. I was usually going every year, once a year. And so uh, this year I finally kind of took me a lot to kind of, do I want to travel again? Yeah, yeah, I want to go back to Japan because I love Japan.
Oh, I've
Yeah.
never been. I'd love to go. Yeah.
Yeah, you'd like it and they would like you. It's very nice. Oh, Taylor is actually coming to the UK this summer, so he's hoping to catch you live.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. There'll definitely be some gigs. Yeah, maybe. This one, hopefully.
Oh, cool.
And May actually. May is we've got some things going on in May. Yeah. Oh,
Oh.
good. Say hi, Taylor.
Yeah, you should like hook up before so you know you're like kind of on her mailing list or whatever.
Yeah, definitely,
Uh,
definitely.
well, I'm going to show your record one more time, your new record. Let's see. Where do I have it? I think I had it
That
somewhere.
time has flown. Wow.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
People always say that. They're always like, "What?" And before, sometimes they're like, "Oh, 2 hours. I don't know if I can talk for 2 hours."
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's getting late. Well, it's not that late. It's only 10. Nearly 10.
Okay, so I'm just going to show your re record again. For you, is it 10 or 11?
It's come up to 10. 3 minutes to 10.
So I thought you were, oh yeah, yeah, 8 hours. Okay. So there's Imogen's newest record, the Charles Mingus Joni Mitchell songbook on Rubicon Jazz.
Hmm.
And you can listen to it on Spotify, I know, but you could probably buy it, well, from Spotify and from iTunes and such.
Yeah. And from I should have, well, yeah, and you can buy it from the label as well. If you go to
Oh,
rubicon.com, rubiconclassics.com,
try and put that
or
in.
the hard
That
copy.
Rubicon Records, Rubicon Classics, I
That's it.
guess. Let's see, come on. And copy. Let's see. I'm putting this into Facebook. Okay, and so there it goes into Facebook. Oh yeah, you're right on the front page actually. I'll just show that, might as well.
Nice.
Impressive. So this is the Rubicon website, and see, here's Imogen right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, and everything else is classical, right?
Yes, so far, yes. Yeah, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, it's a great, great.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. It's been wonderful to talk to you. I hope I haven't.
Glad to see you, and all that. Tell Clara that I send my love. I saw her recently in LA.
Oh yeah, yeah. She was. She was that. Yeah. She kind of, yeah, it was big things happening for her. Yeah.
That was very nice. It was it was kind of a challenging gig. It was with a pianist and bass player, and it was on a stage. The people were sitting on the stage, so
Oh,
it was that kind of environment,
mm,
and and a little challenging. But the bass player was so strong. He was one of our favorite jazz bass players here, and that was really a great thing. I know that she enjoyed that a lot, and but she's a great singer, and it was wonderful to see her. So yeah, give her my best.
I so most certainly will. And I have to say, I've just seen the little thing coming up saying my battery's low. If I pop off, I'm afraid that's why. But
That's
just in case I do,
we're about to sign off anyway. So thank
uh,
you, Imogen
thank you.
Ryle.
That's it, Ryle. That's it. Thank you, Kathy.
It's been
And
really
thank everyone for
fun.
for the questions. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, and good luck with everything. And we have to stay in touch.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And yeah, I can't wait to hear your albums.
Thank you. Bye.